Welcome back to As the Crow Flies on the Mass Transit Channel and our series on the Litany of Trust. In my humble estimation, anxiety about the future may be the single greatest weapon the enemy uses against faithful Christians. Not always open rebellion, not scandal, not dramatic sin, but fear. Fear that keeps our eyes darting everywhere instead of looking to Christ. Fear whispers, what if things go wrong? What if I fail? Fear distracts, isolates, and then steals peace. And into that world in 1978, Pope St. John Paul II stood before the church and the world and proclaimed, "Be not afraid." He repeated it again and again for 26 years. He invited a frightened world to open wide the doors to Christ. Because fear shrinks the heart, but Christ increases its capacity. Sister Faustina shares a beautiful, true story. In the 1930s, a young man and woman fell deeply in love. Then the woman was diagnosed with tuberculosis, which at the time was most often fatal. So out of love, she quietly withdrew from the relationship without telling him why. She didn't tell him because she wanted him still to have a future. Her health worsened, but her faith deepened. Eventually, she was brought to Blessed Solanus Casey, the beautiful monk we met in the first Litany of Trust petition. He asked her, "Is God asking too much of you?" She paused and answered simply, "No." And the very next day, she was healed. 10 years later, she reached out to the man she once loved. He told her he had never been able to love another. They were married and had 8 children, and one of those children became Mother Agnes Mary, the first superior general of the Sisters of Life. Sister Faustina writes, faith had shifted her priorities to put God above all else, even her own wants and those of her family. This act of trust allowed her to face the future in peace. Her miracle began with trust. So many of us, including me, wrestle with anxiety about the future. We imagine worst-case scenarios. We rehearse disasters that haven't happened. We try to prepare ourselves emotionally for the losses that may never come. Truth is, grace is not given in advance. Grace is given in the moment. When we run ahead mentally, we step outside the place where God is waiting to meet us. Anxiety narrows the world down to my fears. Trust enlarges it to God's providence. Planning isn't wrong. Responsibility is good. But there's a difference between prudent planning and fearful grasping. True prudence always asks, what does God desire from me? False prudence asks, how do I protect myself? The young woman with tuberculosis chose Christ first, and because she did, she could walk into the future in peace. Most of us are experts at imagining the worst-case scenario, but the future is not something we must secure. The future is the place where God will meet us. One day, that future will open into eternity. Every Christmas, we gaze upon the nativity scene. There's nothing impressive about the setting. No palace, no wealth, no strategic planning. Just poverty, simplicity, and love. And it's in that setting that Jesus enters the world. Mary and Joseph were entrusted with the Son of God, and yet anxiety was not part of their vocation. Their security was the Father. And that trust, not the stable, was the perfect place for Jesus' birth. Sister Faustina writes, "To be anxious was not part of their entrustment. The trust in the hearts of Joseph and Mary was in fact the perfect place for Jesus' birth." Let the peace of that truth settle into your heart and mind. Trust does not mean irresponsibility. Trust does not mean denial. Trust means I do my duty, I pray, I live faithfully, and I rest in the Father's care. The future is not meant to be feared. It is meant to be entrusted. So today, when anxiety about tomorrow rises, listen to St. John Paul II, be not afraid. Listen to the Litany of Trust, Jesus, I trust in you. And listen to Christ himself, do not be afraid. Because the future is already held in nail-pierced hands. Let's all pray today and every day. From anxiety about the future, deliver me, Jesus. If you'd like to pray the Litany of Trust daily with Sister Faustina, there's a YouTube link in the description of this video where you can do just that. If you'd like to financially support our ministry, there's also a link to our Patreon page. God bless you.